Today I'm sharing with you my complete process for planning coding projects.
So, you want to start programming a project. Cool, I'm proud of you. I have this problem all the time. I want to program something, but I don't know what.
To apply for a software engineering job, you need to show projects. And if you want to improve your coding skills, you have to build projects. Even if you're a beginner learning to code, the only real way to grow is by creating things. But when you're just starting out, it's really difficult to know where to begin. There are tons of tutorials on YouTube teaching you how to build projects. These tutorials are great, but only if you know how to actually use them the right way. This video isn't just another tutorial on building projects. Instead, I'm going to share how I learned to build projects, how I actually got started, and why it's not as complicated as it seems. Now, this might sound a little crazy, but I actually wanted to start a blog where I could teach beginners what I was learning. The idea was simple. If I learned something new, I'd write about it. So I started a website called Merge Society. At first, it was just HTML and CSS, very basic. I'm a web developer, so you know how it goes. But once I launched it, I realized how much more there is to running a website. My first big problem came after launching. I hosted my site on Hostinger, and everything worked fine when it was just static HTML and CSS. But about 2 months later, I learned about SEO. And that pushed me to learn React. After learning React, I rebuilt my entire site with the same content, just using React this time. Since I didn't know Git or GitHub back then, the only way I knew to deploy was to delete the old files and upload the new ones. I did that, opened the site, and everything seemed fine, until I clicked on another route. Suddenly, 404 error. On my machine, everything worked perfectly. But on the server, whenever I refreshed or navigated to a different route, the React app broke. If you've used React, you know this issue. Client-side routing versus server-side routing. The browser tried to load a page that didn't exist on the server, so the server showed a 404. I searched online, asked around, and even used ChatGPT 3 at the time. It told me to include a special configuration file, but I didn't fully understand it, and my setup was wrong. So it failed. I contacted Hostinger support, and they told me the plan I was using didn't support the features I needed. They told me to upgrade to a VPS, so I paid extra money. And guess what? Nothing changed. I even tried to request a refund, but the whole process dragged on, and I never got the money back. At that point, I reached out to a friend, and he told me about Vercel. So I spent the whole day learning what Vercel is and how to deploy on it. And here's the crazy part. The problem I struggled with for weeks had a super simple solution. All I had to do was create a file called Vercel.json and include a rewrite rule that redirects all routes to the index.html file. Basically telling the server, hey, let the React app handle the routing. I deployed it, and it worked instantly. The error was gone, and that's when I learned something important. Just start building something. Don't rely on tutorials to guide every step. When you reach a point where you don't know what to do, search online, use AI, but don't just copy and paste. Ask for explanations. Ask why something works. Try to understand how the pieces fit together. My blog is still online today, and since then, I've improved so much. I learned Next.js, Node.js, and libraries like Express. Plus many more tools. I've built simple projects without copying anything from tutorials. Sometimes I ask AI to recommend project ideas, but the actual building comes from my own understanding. And one thing I really want to emphasize, a lot of code is written the same way by everyone. There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to understand how things are done, not reinvent everything from scratch.